Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Crypto News Podcast. This episode is going to be a little different than normal. I'm sure you're checking your portfolio and it is probably a bloodbath right now. Today's guest is an absolute phenomenal guy. He's a Bitcoin guru, an early crypto adopter. He's been around the block. He's been through the peaks and the troughs. Present day, he is the co-founder and managing director of FastBitcoins. And I'm very pleased to welcome to the Crypto News Podcast, Danny Brewster. Danny, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I wouldn't go as far as say Bitcoin guru. Never want to label myself as one of those. But yeah, I've seen this before. Been here, done that, got this t-shirt, and I'm still smiling.
I love it. So, folks, Danny is, as you can already tell, Danny is a very humble lad, and we will give him that title. Friendly heads up, both of our minds, well, my mind at least, is a little in the gutter today. We are recording on Wednesday, the 19th of May, and it is approximately 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and the markets have been absolutely crushed right now. I'm sure many of you have the exact same questions as myself and all of crypto Twitter right now, which is, what the fuck is going on? This episode also will not be a kids-friendly episode, so if you do have some young ones listening to this, make sure to throw earmuffs on for them. Danny, what the heck is going on right now? Why is Bitcoin dropped? Why is Ethereum dropped? We have CoinGecko down, CoinMarketCap. I even looked at my shitcoins. I couldn't even see what my shitcoins are doing because I can't, no exchange or no platform even has the price. Coinbase is down. I think FTX might be the only exchange that's still on. Like, what the fuck's going on? What's happening?
Well, I only care for Bitcoin. Ethereum is doing whatever Ethereum wants to do, as with all the shitcoins. Proudly been Bitcoin only since about 2013, when I sold my last Litecoin that I mined. At the $43 top, I was here for FU money, to be able to separate money and state. So number go up, number go down, as long as it still functions, then Bitcoin's perfectly doing fine by me as long as it survives. So yeah, what's happening right now is a smaller version of what we've seen before, where the numbers have gone up massively. Everybody feels elated because they are geniuses. They're smarter than all of their friends because they bought early. The numbers gone up. They've failed to recognize the amount of risks, or they've been leverage trading, and now they're crying into their TikToks after trying to make out that they are effectively investment gurus and geniuses and trying to sell these ideas to other people. They're all being flushed out right now. And I personally prefer, I actually tweeted about it the other day, I prefer the winters now as opposed to the bull markets where there's just so much noise and everything going on, so much nonsense being spouted. Yeah, we see who's been LARPing and who's actually telling the truth during these times. So I kind of actually enjoy them. So I'm sorry that I'm not all negative with this.
No,
but yeah, it's just over exuberance, and things that go up that fast also come down that fast.
It's a very admirable outlook to have on this. Again, I did not get in 2013 when you did. I definitely wouldn't say I'm a rookie, but by no means am I a chiseled vet. This is, I was here last year in March 2020 when shit hit the fan. Here I am today. I do feel like this will be one of those days that goes down in history. I'm sure we will have a bump and it will rip right back up. But again, let's talk about the reasons behind what is happening right now. Last week we had, or I guess not last week, a couple of days ago, we had the news from China that China wants to ban Bitcoin again. Mind you, we've seen this song and dance probably a dozen times before. And small little market sell-offs happen, but nothing like this one. You have institutions not even allowing people to buy, only to sell because of the laws and regulations there. Like, what's going on? Can you shed any light on this for our listeners?
the whole China FUD narrative, even before 2013, that was a thing. And then I remember the days when China did actually have really active exchanges, and most of the trading volume was being done in China on BTCC, and the volumes was massive. And then they actually did ban the trading and the speculation in Bitcoin, and they shut the exchanges down. The shocks to the market then were far greater. If my memory serves me correct, way above 40% corrections, probably heading towards 60% corrections. And so again, it just all seems to be regurgitated nonsense. We've seen it in India, where initially the banks weren't allowed to deal with, or they weren't permitted to deal with Bitcoin exchanges or Bitcoin related companies. And then the cool guys, Sonny and his other founders, Unacoin, they managed to get that decision overturned in their Supreme Court in India. So all of these narratives and things are just basically being replayed over and over again, as are people's reactions. And this is why, again, for me, arguably the winters, when things are down and everything's looking bleak, that's where more gets built and more gets done, because there's less noise and less exuberance in the market. So you've got more fundamental improvements going on during those times. But then also the fact that these narratives still move markets, if they are in fact relative to the markets, and the news is actually moving them, and it's not just whales trying to pull the market in one way or another, then it just stands to show that if you have got the balls or the minerals to be around and to stick these times out, we are still ridiculously early, because narratives like these, anybody that understands Bitcoin knows that China banning Bitcoin just goes to show that more people in China should probably be buying Bitcoin. So for me, it's kind of a counterpoint that we're really early if these news articles are in fact having an impact on the actual market to this level.
Interesting. Very well said there. The whole China thing it's such a tough one, because it's such a large population, a lot of money that definitely has influence and does move markets. You see it happen with the U.S. equity securities, you name it. They definitely know how to move the market, and this very well could be the case. And then obviously right now we have the current problem, like I discussed a couple minutes ago, and that was the fact that Coinbase is down, Huobi's down, all the big markets are down, and it doesn't help.
If nobody's down, if it's down, nobody's trading, so it's not moving the market either way.
So it's down, to my knowledge, only the sell is allowed, and that's sort of the whole GameStop thing that happened, where you were only allowed to sell and not buy. Again, is that similar to the GameStop, where perhaps people were over leveraged, and the drop that happened last week, I know a lot of people, at least the folks that I've spoke to and a lot of the people that I've seen on Twitter, are like, oh, this is a great time to go 3x, 5x, 10x, and if you are an absolute purebred sicko, 100x leverage on Bitcoin on the few exchanges or platforms that do allow that. And who knows, maybe the institutions saw that, they saw the spreads getting wider and wider, and they thought this would be a great time to hammer it on the way down, and then probably load up on the leverage on the way back up.
Then for me, that just spells out that these investors that are taking 100x positions or even trading with leverage shouldn't be doing it. It's a pure gamble. If you're up against these institutional players that can move the markets down, you're literally just betting that they won't do that on you. When you're taking out leverage positions, sure, it may work out 9 times out of 10, but that 10th time when they do drop it on your head, then you're just lining somebody's bonus. And that's an individual's responsibility, in my opinion. We're all ultimately the grand sum of the decisions that we take and the way in which we react to decisions that other people make that influence us. Anything else is just purely your own responsibility. So if you're trading with leverage and you get wrecked, that was a risk that you took. Or you should have known and understood that when you took that position out, that this could happen. And this has happened many times in the past, and it's not a non-zero chance of it happening.
Yeah, that's, again, just a crazy day. I'm sure everyone's heads are in the clouds right now. Before we get into your, sort of intro into the space and fast Bitcoins, I do want to talk about a couple other very hot news stories that are going on right now. Stablecoins. There was an article that just came out. This was actually on cryptonews.com. USDT dropped and was now trading at 0.92, which is craziness. USDC, same thing. To my knowledge, how does a stable coin even drop that much? The whole point of Tether is to buzz around that dollar mark forever and ever. How does that work?
It's, at the end of the day, they're still subject to public confidence. So although they're called stable coins, you still have to have faith in the entity that's backing them, be it Tether or Circle or Gemini or whoever. You have, if you want to truly believe that stable coin is worth $1, you are under the impression that it's backed 1-to-1. If it's not, if that confidence is at all lost or shaken, or some random market event around that, like USDT or Tether or USDC, it's going to deviate away from that. But as long as there's audits and there's an ability to actually verify the amount of backing that something has with the supply in circulation, then you would imagine that it would always circle around the $1 or the peg, depending on which currency it is. But when that confidence is lost, then it can certainly deviate away from that. And there was a news article this week about Tether's basket that backs the actual Tether in circulation. And it was made up of treasuries and things like that, and just a small portion of it was in cash. But Tether is that big that it's this financial instrument in and of itself, which divides opinions and stuff. But for me personally, if a stablecoin collapses, if I was holding it, the only place I would want to go is into Bitcoin and not into cash. So it essentially is bullish for Bitcoin if stable coins, if people lose confidence in them.
So going back to Bitcoin here, what do you say to an investor who got in a couple months ago, even let's call it a month ago at the top around that 62,000 USD range, and they've only seen the bull market. They got in at the top. They're scared shitless. They got to put their big boy or big gal boots on now. You're going to be knee deep in shit per se. How do you go about telling them, look, this is an asset that rises 200% every single year. There are going to be crazy dips. There is going to be extreme volatility. There's no such asset that just keeps going up and never takes a crash. Heck, even real estate market took a crash. Everything eventually takes a little crash and then can bounce and go back up. What do you tell that noob or that rookie that just got into the Bitcoin space and is scared shitless right now?
I would say, how well are you sleeping at night? Are you about to lose your house, your wife? Are your retirement plans now set back? Your retirement plans that you're due to retire in, say, 6 months' time, you've now got to put them back until this either gets back into the black or makes a recovery. If you're that screwed, then I would say more for you for taking that decision. You took a decision out of pure greed. You're overexposed to this, and if you want to actually be honest about it, you was doing it in the hope that it was going to go 200 up 200% from where you bought it right at the top, because it was a decision taken out of greed. I would say if you can admit that, then you're probably in the best position to do something about it. If you're just distressed and you're losing sleep and things like that, then you either cut your losses or just basically hold on to it and take the longer term approach, which you should do with these type of investments, and just don't quit your job, go back to work, keep mining that fiat, and keep paying your bills, and just play the long game. And then when it comes around in the next cyclical event, if this is in fact the end of a bull market, we've had plenty of these pullbacks before in previous bull markets. It's just bide your time. We've seen this before. It's extremely cyclical, whether it was from 10 cents up to $14, or from $1 up to $30 and then back down, and then from $60 up to $260 in 2012 when we saw that, and then 2013 it was up to $1,200-ish with Mt. Gox and the Willybot, and then 2017 up to 20,000 and then back down, and now up to 63,000. It's just a case of biding your time, because at the end of the day, the dollar that you're measuring it against is constantly being devalued, and your Bitcoin is fixed supply. Nobody's changing that anytime soon. So it is just a time preference issue. My opinion is probably born out of witnessing so many of these events that you just become emotionally detached from them, and it's just getting to that position of being emotionally detached and making sound decisions.
That's not easy though. That's, like you said, that's taken years. That's years of practice and becoming a stoic in an environment where 99% of people are emotionally attached, because like you said when we first jumped on, it makes you feel like you're Superman or Superwoman. It gives you these psychological full powers where you think you think you are you could run a friggin' crypto hedge fund with how successful you've been just off getting into Bitcoin on the right month and watching it go to the moon. Again, just craziness. I guess that's a good question.
I will always argue that the best lessons in life are learned in blood.
Right. Yeah.
So the only way you do that is get exposed and have these learning experiences. And I'd still argue that a 25% drop, we're still up for the year.
No, it's true.
It's like how much of a narrow time frame do you want to have your window to life look over? If you're willing to only look over say the last 6, 8, 12 weeks back, have a look for the next 6, 8, 12 weeks forward as well. You don't know where it's going to go. We've been through these cycles. Just have a look at the previous cycles. We had massive sell-offs and then it's bounced back and it's accelerated up further. So that could very well happen next week.
Right. It better happen next week. On a day like today, on a day like today, where all I want to do is just be glued to Twitter. And again, it's the worst day because on days like this, where blood's in the water, there's always 10 times more work to do. But on a day like today, where everyone is glued to Twitter, everyone is glued to the news cycles, how do you go about being calm and being a stoic? Or I saw Plan B said he's going to go for a long run and he's, screens are done for the rest of the day. What's on the Danny Brewster, piece of advice tip book there?
My day is literally being spent rewriting our longer term business plan to give to the regulators here in the Isle of Man. It's business as usual as far as I'm concerned. We're seeing at FastBitcoins, we're seeing plenty of buy volume. There's more people. Well, we only sell Bitcoin to people. We haven't enabled selling through as yet. That is coming, but we're in the business of creating Bitcoiners, and we've got new people signing up today, new people verifying their accounts and making purchases through us. So people are buying the dip, If you spend your life looking down the echo chamber that is Twitter or Telegram groups and things like that, it can become pretty depressive. And I'd say that about Bitcoin, even during the good times and the bad times. Bitcoin makes you examine everything with a skeptical view. Eventually, if you spend enough time doing the research, doing the education, you start to question everything, every narrative. And this is why there's probably a subset of the ecosystem that is more questioning of like the whole COVID situation and vaccines and the way that the food industry is set up. And because it's people in this space, the ones that actually truly want to do any learning about it and not just the pure speculative play, that are interested in marketing words and buzzwords to pump their bags, they become skeptical of everything. And that can be really dangerous for somebody's mental health in general if you start to question everything and you develop real trust issues with the world as a whole. And days like today, if you are in that position like that, you're in a bad place because you've been going down this rabbit hole, and then all of a sudden the one bit of positivity that you had where you felt like you was becoming rich and you was getting close to quitting your job and buying the Lamborghini and buying a house and paying your parents' house, your parents' mortgage offer and things like that, then it can really destroy your where you're at mentally. And I saw a young guy a day or so ago when there was a bit of a dip. My missus brought her mobile phone through, and she was like, "Look at this boy on TikTok. He's literally breaking down in front of his girlfriend, having a hissy fit because Bitcoin's gone down in value." And it was just then that I was, this is about ready anyway. You've just got to separate yourself from it, and you can't make decisions whilst emotional. You should never ever make emotional decisions because you always live to regret them.
Good point there.
So go for a walk, go for a swim, go for a run. Forget Bitcoin or whatever shitcoin bags you've got even exist. There's more to life than money.
Well said. Folks, we are going to take a quick break here and just want to give a big shout out to our best sponsor over at CoinPoker. This episode and all of our episodes here at Crypto News Podcast are always brought to you by our friends at CoinPoker, who are the world's premier crypto poker platform. You guys have heard me talk about them many times in this podcast. I absolutely love using them. They have the incredible mobile app. They have the CoinPoker economy that gives players exclusive benefits and supports future developments. It is the revolutionary blockchain technology-based platform that was developed by an incredible team of poker lovers and sports gamblers. And CoinPoker uses USDT as the main in-game currency and CHP as in-game fuel. Secure transactions, fast, instant transactions using USDT, ETH, Bitcoin, or CHP. And the best part is no KYC. You literally log on. 5 minutes later, you're up and you're dancing. Especially on a day like today when playoff hockey is on, the play-in tournament for the NBA is on. Just a great day to gamble on some sports, and I am definitely going to do that once this podcast is over. Gonna need to cool down, might go for a walk, check out some spreads, and again, you can do that while you are on a walk out and about via the mobile app. Great company, great team. That is coinpoker.com. Go check them out, and we are back to the show. Danny, are you a poker player or sports gambler at all?
No, I am a absolutely massive Liverpool fan, but I don't bet on the football, or soccer, as you guys may call it. I'm not a gambler. I've played poker before, more in-person tournaments, but it's not something that I like to do. I like to do things where I have some relative skill. And I'd be not going to lie, I wouldn't be the best poker player at the table. So I wouldn't be playing too high stakes. I know my limitations. So, and then for betting, sports betting, I see why people do it and the fun and things, but it's just not my cup of tea. So
hey, tomato, it's not for everyone. But one thing I will say, if you would have hammered Liverpool over maybe not this year, but the 2 or 3 previous years before that, you'd be a very rich man. That was quite the run.
Yeah. This season's been a bit different. If you'd have bet on us having the most injuries, it's been a little bit insane. But to be honest with you, for the 90 minutes that the game is on, I zone out of everything and enjoy that. It's like Bitcoin doesn't exist, and I'm free for 90 minutes of everything. But this season, with no crowds in the stadiums and things like that, it's kind of made it all a bit surgical. And the fake crowd noise that they have on the TV is just cringeworthy. So I cannot wait for the fans to be back in the grounds. I've been to some of the best Liverpool games at Anfield. I took Peter McCormack to the Liverpool Man City game a couple of seasons ago. It was literally the only game, or one of 2 games that we lost all season, and we was like 11 millimeters or 1 centimeter away from winning the league. And me and Peter was there, and it happened in front of us. So every time he goes to the game, we seem to lose. So I refuse to take him over a game.
I love that. That's a great story. Over under 30 beers consumed by you two.
I don't really drink. I am so boring. Well, I say I don't drink. I drink wine. And he was driving. Yeah. And to be fair, one of the Man City players got me the tickets.
Humble brag.
We share a physio. We was up in the corporate seats with all of the Man City fans and board and all those people. So we couldn't overly celebrate as we're both Liverpool fans.
Right.
So we couldn't be overly drunk or anything like that.
Gotcha.
It would have caused a bit of a riot. So it was undercover.
That's awesome. Do you see what's his name? Daniel Elk. He's trying to buy the football squad. Yeah.
Yeah. There's been this European Super League, which seems to be being driven by financial decisions, and the fans aren't too happy with them. And it's the same with the FSG that owns Liverpool. The fans aren't very happy with the decisions that they was trying to do. They was trying to basically remove competition from the best competition in the world, as far as fans are concerned. They was trying to turn it into an American style franchise type play for Europe, and it really backfired because the fans turned around and said, no, this isn't happening. So and now the Arsenal fans are trying to get Stan Kroenke to sell Arsenal, but the guy, from what I can gather, Arsenal came out and said that no, he's not put a bid in or anything like that for the club, and there's a lot of noise being made around it. But from what I can gather, this news kind of negates away from some of the performance aspects of Spotify. So I'm not entirely sure if there's any foundations to that whatsoever. But yeah, big games, big money.
Oh yeah, that is a pod. We could run a full day long podcast on that. And friendly apologies to any Arsenal supporters who listen to the podcast. It has been a rough stretch for you guys, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. But back to Bitcoin. Danny, you are the managing director and co-founder of FastBitcoins, and I would love if you could tell me a little bit more about your amazing company, what you guys are all about, and what you have in the pipeline moving forward.
So, FastBitcoins was born out of my desire or lessons that I learned from my previous company in 2013, 2014, that all happened. And I took those lessons forward and started building FastBitcoins.com. My sole aim with FastBitcoins.com is to create 1 billion Bitcoiners in the world. Once we've got 1 billion Bitcoiners, then we can do so much more. We can influence the political decisions, and we can use Bitcoin as the Trojan horse into the existing systems that we're not too happy about, and hopefully hold a light to the central bank money printing systems and everything that enables. The second order effects of Bitcoin, like reducing consumerism by forcing people to live on a sound money standard. So buying something once instead of buying 10 new replacement items every year, but buying something once that lasts 10 years would be far greater for the world from an environmental impact that often gets overlooked. People say that, or hope, or live in this ideal that a sound money system would reduce the ability for a government to go to war and to send innocent people to fight politicians' battles, things like that. And for me, the only way that we can really achieve any real level of penetration in the world is by creating enough Bitcoiners. And there's some unique challenges in Bitcoin, like scalability, and things like the Lightning Network. We was the first exchange in the world that enabled you to go from cash directly onto the Lightning Network. So basically, the first stage of our journey as a company is creating 1 billion Bitcoiners, which is a huge task, or helping towards creating 1 billion Bitcoiners. And my definition of a Bitcoiner is somebody that uses and benefits from Bitcoin, perhaps for more than just number go up, whether that be, well, arguably that interfaces with wealth preservation over time, but just enabling more than just pure speculation, which makes up 90+% of the usage right now.
Danny, you said you want to help over 1 billion Bitcoiners. That is insane. What's with the crazy goal there? 1 billion people?
It's hard. Anything worth doing is hard to achieve. So if we want to have world-changing impact, then you best set your goals high. If we was to say we wanted to create 1 million Bitcoiners, it wouldn't be too hard. So let's go big or go home.
Go big or go home. Love it. One of the coolest integrations and partnerships that the FastBitcoins team has is the partnership with FlexiPin. Now, to my knowledge, FlexiPin has over 20,000 locations globally, and that allows customers, now FastBitcoins customers, to redeem their prepaid cash vouchers for Bitcoin online, and you can also do that at fastbitcoins.com. Before we get into the partnership with FlexiPin, can you tell me what exactly is a prepaid cash voucher?
Okay. So we have our own network of merchants as well. So we do our own FastBitcoins vouchers alongside accepting FlexiPin vouchers. So we do actually have a merchant network of our own. But a cash prepaid voucher is, this was the initial model for FastBitcoins, was to have our own merchant network where people could use cash to go and buy Bitcoin, because I thought it was absolutely outrageous that you would be charged upwards of 20% sometimes using a Bitcoin ATM to buy Bitcoin with cash. So the prepaid voucher is basically, traditionally it's been used by people that didn't want to use their bank cards online, or you connect their bank accounts or anything like that to a Bitcoin exchange or an online service. So what these do is you can go to one of the participating merchants. You can purchase a prepaid voucher from either FlexiPin or from a FastBitcoins vendor. The voucher is then basically printed out with a denominated value in, say, US dollars or Canadian dollars, Australian dollars. And you can then redeem that for the face value of the voucher, minus our fee, and then you can exchange that for Bitcoin. So it's just a way of moving cash into an online platform to be able to purchase Bitcoin. So from our business perspective, they are irreversible. So we're not subject to potential chargebacks or fraud or payment fraud or anybody trying to falsely reclaim that payment after it had been completed. So there are benefits to us as a company for accepting that. But handling cash and everything, especially in this post-COVID world, where everything gets shut down, and a lot of retail stores and things got closed, kind of isn't great. Hence why we've added the ability for customers to be able to make electronic deposits directly from their bank accounts and things, since the first lockdown happened in the UK. So that's basically how the prepaid cash voucher works, and then we get settled in the background by FlexiPin or by our own merchants that make up our merchant network.
Thank you for that, Danny. Couple more questions before we wrap up here. What does the future of FastBitcoins look like?
The future of Bitcoin, to start with, for me, I think Bitcoin's going to struggle to sustain prices over 100K right now, purely based on, and this also depends upon the amount of traffic that's flowing on the network, and the fee environment for actually settling funds on the main chain, purely based on when we've seen the fee environment of 250 sats of VByte, 100K transactions, the average transaction, I'm just pulling these numbers, rough numbers out of my backside, you're probably looking at around about $30 if you're valuing those sats in the fee sats in dollars. And then anybody that's buying $100 worth of Bitcoin, they would be getting, say, 100K sats. Then they send a transaction and it's going to cost them 30,000 of those 100K. So that's a 30% fee. If they're paying to withdraw that from an exchange, they receive 70,000 from that original 100,000. They then want to send that on to buy something or spend it or give it to somebody. That's another 30,000 if the fee environment stayed the same. So they've gone from having 100,000 sats that they've bought for $100 down to having 40 that is usable after paying transaction fees. So the future of Bitcoin for me at this kind of small level, small volume transactions for the average person, considering the average 80% of the world survive on less than $10 a day, the vast majority of the planet will probably be directly using Bitcoin on Lightning or a sidechain or another layer 2 or layer 3 solution. So that's where the future lies for me. So we're developing our mobile apps to include a Lightning wallet where we can deliver to our users, because we don't want to hold people's Bitcoins. And that's the way that Bitcoin's probably going to go, is you're going to have this custodial system where companies like Coinbase, Binance and Krakens and these big exchanges that don't integrate Lightning because they want to keep you on their platforms and keep those keep those coins custodied on their platforms, because then they've got assets under management. It looks good to shareholders, et cetera, and then you're going to have the platforms like ourselves, River. I'm pretty sure Swan would do something in the longer term with Lightning, where people can buy small amounts of Bitcoin and actually take custody of them and make them usable in the real world. So that is 100% where my efforts are focused, is getting those mobile apps done, which include the wallet, so our customers can use Bitcoin and Bitcoin can be useful.
Love that. Big plans ahead. Very excited for you and the team. Danny, this has been incredible. Couple rapid fire questions. I've asked this, I think, almost every single episode, and this is the first time where this question might look a little more dire than normal. Will Bitcoin hit 100K by year end?
Absolutely not.
Everyone else was like, oh, 100%. There's no fucking chance it won't. It's going to hit in September, October. And now we're hovering below 30K. So will Bitcoin hit 100K?
No idea. I don't think it's sustainable at those levels for the reasons that I've just spoken about. I don't think there's enough infrastructure built around Bitcoin to make Bitcoin useful at those values. But then again, the price will do what the price does. It could absolutely smash through it, and we could hit 150, could even hit 200. Pretty sure once that psychological barrier of 100 is broken, there's going to be a massive shortage on the supply side when it comes to exchanges. And we are seeing the amount of coins being custodied on exchanges hit all-time lows each and every week, which is a positive sign. We'll see how that looks after today. But yeah, it could easily hit 100K, it could easily surpass it, but it could also easily, a little bit of a personal preference, we could go into a 2-3 year bit of a winter until the next halving event, and we could hit, it always ends up being a higher low each cycle. And then hopefully more people would build the infrastructure. So next time round, we can support 2, 3, 4, 500K type prices sustainably and make Bitcoin useful across those times.
You got it. Danny, this has been awesome. Really appreciate you jumping on. Learned a lot today. Big fan of you and the team. You guys have a great company, great organization, and moon is the limit for you guys. Before we let you go today, where can our listeners find you on socials? That is, where can they find you and where can they find FastBitcoins?
FastBitcoins is at FastBitcoins. We're at fastbitcoins.com. We're on Instagram, Facebook as well. We've actually just made our hire. We've just completed a hiring for somebody to manage the social media. We've been pretty stealth so far, so hopefully, if they're good at their job, we'll be pumping out some decent content across our socials. My own personal Twitter is at BTC Danny. I'm pretty boring. Speak my mind. You might not get the confirmation bias from me that many people seek, but I do it from a place of love, like Lex Friedman or whatever his name is.
Love that. Danny, you're the man. Appreciate you coming on. Again, folks, this was probably the first D-Day we've had since probably 14, 15 months ago of March 2020. This is the Crypto News Podcast with Danny Brewster from FastBitcoins. Danny, thanks again for jumping on and hope you had a blast.
Thank you, I did. And congratulations on the traction that you're getting with your podcast.
Thank you, mate. Really appreciate that. Folks, if you enjoyed listening to this episode with Danny Brewster from FastBitcoins, we would love if you could subscribe to our podcast. We are on all major platforms: Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, you name it. We are there. Stitcher, Overcast, we're everywhere. Again, if you like this, it would mean the world if you could subscribe. We are releasing epis on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning. Tons of amazing guests on the block as well, and we are very excited to have them on. That is all for us. I am wishing you and your portfolios a incredible and prosperous rest of the day, and let's hope that our holdings go up. Love you all, and talk soon. Bye.